the whole world changed.
I hope that we learn that we can decide what we do with media.
Usually we'd be much more caught up in our busy lives.
I think this has changed.
You spend a lot of emotional and mental energy doing that all day.
Through this whole social distancing, we've been probably closer than ever for a lot of us.
Everything which works so naturally when we see each other face to face does not work that well in an online world.
You spend a lot of emotional and mental energy doing that all day.
Computer-mediated communication with a screen does not replace a real human counterpart.
The bane of my existence is actually like at the end of the day when like friends are like, hey, let's have a Zoom party. I'm like, I'd rather die.
Finally, I guess through this whole social distancing, we've been probably closer than ever.
If we talk about the video calls, which are so typical for these times, we have more cues, we see each other, and this is quite a good way because you can literally read from the other's face, for example, his or her emotional state.
Virtual meetings and calls also have their benefit because it's like easier to conduct better, to add them to your plans because you're way more flexible.
You have more attention span from consumers depending on the space that you're in, because people are spending more time online, they're spending more time scrolling, they're spending more time kind of interacting with the companies.
Seeing companies which have used this as an opportunity to step in, to bring support and transform themselves. I think FMCG companies like Unilever, Coty, L'Oreal, they've done a great job at shifting their production facilities to be able to produce, for example, hand sanitizers.
Businesses need to put their money where their mouth is. So it's not really enough to just have this nice statement. Economy means nothing if it isn't embedded in everything you do and it isn't something that's really guiding decision making.
I think there's been stories drawn on pubs, local pubs, for example, creating virtual platforms for their local customers to still be able to get together and socialize.
It's definitely the time to really prove that you're willing to make decisions as a business that aren't purely based on your targets or your sort of financial interests, but they're in the interest of some greater need.
Usually we'd be much more caught up in our busy lives.
Way more books, digital information is created and shared, videos, new styles of conferences. So this whole aspect of communication, digitalization developed over the past months dramatically, I would say. Like to an extent we didn't have before.
Until recently, the use of digital media devices or screen time was associated with entertainment or with a waste of time. I think this has changed.
Because the effect of this whole crisis is so huge that the whole world changed and we will not go back. This forced digitalization will stay.
Because the COVID-19 crisis induced a new perspective on media and media devices. Suddenly, we talked about them as a tool for education. We had online classes and we find out that we can use our smartphones or our tablets to learn and not only to entertain ourselves.
Everyone is affected, and it's probably the first time that we have a global issue affecting each of us to such a level in our daily lives.
I hope that we learn that we can decide what we do with media and that media does not decide what it does with us.
It's a really weird situation. You just learn to adapt, I guess.